I want you to promise me, however, because of how potent this knowledge is, the possibility of some of my clients going rogue and using my techniques to harm women is very real. And so I want you to agree to use this knowledge ethically and responsibly. Use my material to pursue your own happiness and not to harm the women that you are going to use it on. Agree with me? Great.
What's up, besties? I hope you're having a glorious day. Apparently not everyone's favorite way of watching YouTube is watching funny cats videos from like 5 years ago. Some people would rather watch videos about seduction from so-called pickup artists and about seducing women. Yes, I know that there are some about seducing men, but they seem to be in minority and they seem to have quite different advice, so I would just treat that as a different topic. Anyway, I don't want to make it sound like there's like a ton of those, because I don't feel like the problem is so gigantic. I just think it's worth to warn people about those losers, because they are losers. There is no reason for me to be nice about that. I want people to know not to fall for their schemes and give them money, but also to see some basic manipulation if someone is trying to use that garbage advice on them. Because I'd personally say that that's a red flag. So this channel is kind of about art, not exactly. I just talk shit, and art is one of my main interests, so this shit usually is art. But if we decide to treat this channel as one about art, I think I'm staying on topic. Because the people I'm going to talk about, as I've said, are called pickup artists. Some of them do call themselves pickup artists, some of them are trying to like cut themselves off of that name because they see that it has some bad connotations, but they do the exact same stuff. They just say like, oh look, I am not a pickup artist, those pickup artists' advice are bad, mine are good, don't give your money to them, give them to me. I don't think I've saved any clips of that, but in both seminars I'm about to show you, it has been said. But yeah, so they are pickup artists, I'm sorry, but are there like actual artists? Well, I'm not sure if manipulation and misogyny can be called art. I am leaving this one for you to decide. So I did a little dive, maybe not that super deep, I haven't been exercising in a year and I can't hold my breath for long, but still a dive for this community that claims to help people with dating, but their advice... yeah, I'm sure at this point you must have heard some, and know that in many cases it's not cool. Like, I don't know, with this stable guy, Russell... I don't know, I'm not going to talk about him today. He is a walking meme at this point. I think that everything that could be said about him has been said at this point. The way a lot of those channels seem to work is that they tend to promote some sketchy, see, we're still talking about us, websites that get you to give them your hard-earned money for some programs. The thing is, though, I'm broke, I'm not buying all that stuff. May share some prices here and there, though.
Your total investment today, which includes Shogun Method, as well as the 2 bonuses, the DerekRakeHQ.com coaching platform and the Derek Rake Insider Labs, is now for one payment of only $79.97.
So here are some things that I found tend to be taught by those people. Also, when it comes to the videos I'm showing you, it's really tempting to just react the way some people on live streams tend to do, like pausing every time something dumb is said. But we will be here forever, so I'm skipping sexist or dumb stuff. It's not because I don't care or I don't know how to answer, it's because we don't have time for everything, and I trust you to know if things said are bad or not, you know. I don't feel like there is a need to point out at obvious. One thing I must say after watching a ton of those videos is that they feel like they're made for aliens whose only knowledge of humanity is what we sent on them on this funny little disc in like 70s. So let's start with a real nice fella named Casey Zander. He uploads very frequently, so I'm not going to do a very deep dive into his videos. But let's see what he has to offer.
Hi, I'm Beta.
Call me daddy.
Sim to pimp alpha cheat code. You cry to mommy 10 signs you're a beta male. Why you can't keep her girlfriend. Game problems of the high value man. The dangers of being a full stack alpha male.
I've watched some of his other stuff, but I'm going to go with this one video called "Let Women Chase You: 5 Masculine Steps to Constant Options." The options part sounds kind of bad. Because that's the one that has advice in it. I've also watched one about female nature. I believe which was basically about how he saw a not necessarily sober girl simp over how hot Chris Hemsworth is and how she would want him to fuck her, and Casey just did this huge psychoanalysis about how that's just how women are and how they can get turned on immediately, and men have to find a way to be attractive the same way Chris is or something. I don't know, he seems very indirect in this. Like, he runs for quite a long time, and I mean, maybe it's just my poor social skills or something, but I didn't catch any actual advice. Also, I've seen Chris being described as one of the other coaches I've seen as like this alpha male that everyone should strive to be. And guys, you can ask any woman who's attracted to men you want, none would choose Sir over Loki, just saying. Despite how much of a macho man that fits in many ways to what I've seen pickup artists are teaching, just saying. Anyway, let's go back to the video I've mentioned. I've cut out the intro because I don't care, and let's go. I'm not going to show you the whole video, obviously, just a few points to get the taste, and that's how I'm going to do with all material shown, actually, because we don't have time for everything.
Today we're going to discuss how to let a woman chase you and how to master that persona and how to actually make this way, 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 way easier than anything you've ever heard before. Now, you guys know I love my whiteboard. Okay, since I moved, I don't have the whiteboard set up, but I have a miniature whiteboard. From time to time, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be referencing points on this. Okay, the very first point, and it's not necessarily important you see this fully, but I'll let it shine through here. Okay, point number 1. Actions equal effortless. Never tries too hard. Let's talk about this point for a second. Your actions as a man need to come off as flawless. It needs to come off as silky smooth. It needs to come off that you're never necessarily trying too hard.
So this one just seems like confidence with extra steps. I don't know, just the so point doesn't sound too bad. It's what comes next to me that sounds terrible.
Whenever you get into the mindset that says, well, I feel like, your he and your han, that is not going to work. That is not calm, strong, congruent, masculine energy. That is going to be the type of energy that leads her to believe that you are not necessarily pre-selected. Okay? You have to appear as if, which is why men whose actions appear effortless, the woman doesn't even notice that you're making a move or that you're trying. And when you can bypass her logical brain and you tap into that primal instinct, that is when you actually unlock her deepest desires and her deepest fantasies. But the fact is, most men just don't know how to do it. The first step in mastering this is you have to appear effortless.
There's something about the talking of women's primal instinct that just rubs me the wrong way. This feels just not only pseudoscientific, but also in a very disrespectful way, like we were dumb or something.
Care zero. You cannot care. You can't care about anything when it comes to women at all. Even for those of you that have long-term girlfriends or for some of you that have marriages. Right now there's over 85 active members inside my men's relationship blueprint mastery inner circle. These are married men who have saved their marriage from going to a divorce. Why? Because they learned one of these principles, and that is the care zero. The care zero principle is one of the most important, and that's because emotions as a man, it simply just does not work in your favor. You can elicit strong emotions out of that woman through eye contact, flirting, smiling, smirking, subcommunication. teasing, silence even at times. Look how serious this video got just by some silence.
Well, for me, it just got awkward, and like you don't know what to say next and what you're talking about. I mean, that's just generally bad advice. In a relationship, emotions are very important. I mean, why would you just get into a relationship without caring? Like, I get that you like sex, but if that's all, then what's the point of actually dating someone? Why would you be in a long-term relationship if you don't care about the other person or they don't care about you? Lack of commitment is actually one of the most common reasons of divorce, I remember.
Some of you maybe are looking at getting into the Masculinity Blueprint Accelerator 2.0. We've just released version 2. What you can do is you can go down below and you can catch that webinar live stream.
So I went on a lovely adventure and signed up to the website. And look, there's about to be a live stream. How lucky am I? Unfortunately, I got a little late because I watched a video on a website with a live stream link. There wasn't anything interesting in the video aside from the fact that he explained that we need to come to the live stream earlier because he can only host 500 people and it gets full even before it starts. What I found interesting is that when I was watching live stream, it was always almost full despite the fact that it lasted about 2 hours. And yes, I watched 2 hours long seminar for you. For the first hour and a half, even paid attention. Then I decided that since I'm recording, I can just speed up while editing and pick out the interesting parts. The whole live stream was just clearly a transmission of something that was pre-recorded, and there was hardly anything in it. Just promises all the time of what he's about to tell us. You can see on the right there is a notepad that I decided to write notes to myself in, but after some time it turns to my own chat when I was just talking to myself. There actually was a live chat underneath, but somehow when I tried using it, it seemed like I was the only person there. Very curious, because no one was chatting with me. Since I was talking to myself anyway, I decided that doing that without Casey potentially seeing that or something would be better. I don't know how that website works. I felt awkward. This might have not been the rational choice, but it was one that felt better.
But what this is not some bullshit pickup artist advice. This is also not some woo-woo self-help seminar. These are the things that keep men stuck making these same exact mistakes with outdated belief systems that have failed them year after year after year with no women to choose from. And look, I'm not here to Tony Robbins you. My job here is not to make you feel good, or even be your friend for that matter. My job is to ensure that women can't stop thinking about you 24/7. When Dan came to me for help, he was heartbroken and confused. That sound familiar? Sounds like 99% of men out there today. You fast forward to now, and in less than a week, he feels like more of a man than he has in years. Malik said once you finish just a week, MBT changes your entire perspective on the dating and seduction game altogether. And here's Marcus. He goes, less than a week into MBT, and I now have females hunting down my phone out of the blue. Coincidence? I think not.
This is just one thing he does all the time. He shows those examples that I don't really feel like we can verify if they are real. Obviously he does this to gain some credibility and to create this realistic or not fantasy of what we could achieve if we listen to his advice. There's no really anything wrong with doing that, of course. But I found the amount of him doing that interesting. I mean, it was boring to look at, but I'm sure it must work for him, at least if he's shoving that in a face all the time.
And who is this for? Well, this is for guys who want to attract any woman without six-pack abs, without trying to get rich, without a fancy sports car. It's also for guys who want sex on demand without spending hundreds of dollars on dates, whining and dining her before they even get anywhere. And this is for any guy who wants to go from friend zone to sex zone ASAP. And like I said, this is not good guy game.
Yeah, the whole sex on demand thing seems very mask off. I don't think there is a need to comment on that. What kind of hit me, and I know that it shouldn't, since that's just how pickup artists talk, is how much he goes into sex. and shows a lot of photos I can't show on YouTube. While on YouTube he doesn't really use the word sex, he just says S3X. And while I know it's about YouTube not liking this topic and he normally wouldn't censor himself, the contrast still surprised me in a way.
And the biggest lie of all, that women find masculinity toxic. How many times have you ever been told to tone it down when you're around a woman just for the fear of offending her? Yet women are hardwired to sexually crave the man that knows how to make her feel the most feminine. And this in and of itself is a skill that any man can master. And it's not your fault. Society wants you to suppress the fact that you have sexual desires. And what's the result of that? Well, the result is men suffocated with approach anxiety and depression. Society wants you weak. Society wants you to feel shame for being a man. And today men are scrutinized, almost embarrassed, for even coming forth and showing intent to a woman.
This part I found interesting because he just showed that he doesn't understand the concept of toxic masculinity. It's not toxic to act in a stereotypically manly manner if that's how you really are. What is toxic is normalizing violence due to classic boys will be boys attitude. What is toxic is making men who don't fit into those stereotypes we have feel like they are not manly enough and they need to change, because that's actively harming them. There was this guy on TikTok who said something along the lines of many of the gym bros are actually suffering from eating disorders, but we're not ready for this conversation. And I feel like this also goes to show how we dismiss men's problems because, well, it's so masculine to be buff. That can't be wrong. What's also toxic, and we've already seen advocating for it, is suppressing your emotions, because that's just how men are supposed to behave. Because often, at one point, you just can't take it anymore and you need help. This is why men suffer from depression and kill themselves so often. Not because of society not liking masculinity. Society loves masculinity. So much that you can see men being shamed for having higher pitched voice, or being more thin, or liking more stereotypically feminine things like makeup or fashion. And the thing about toning down for a woman, it's not for you to look less masculine. It's for you to not look like a sexual offender, mate. I'm sorry. Don't be creepy, for fuck's sake.
And to ensure that all women view you as a lasting sexual option, you need every piece of the puzzle. And when you stay until the end, I'm going to be giving you NLore, Never Left on Red, as a little bonus. And this is the ultimate texting and online dating mastery program template that any man can just copy-paste instantly into his life and hook women through the phone. And this is why you must make it till the end, because I'm giving NLore as a totally free attendance bonus. So that way you can text any woman properly with a 90% plus open to response rate. But only if you stay for the entire broadcast will you know how to access.
So here he starts to promote his little program, and it looks like we'll get something free, but we have to stay, so let's stay.
Guys, this method allowed me to attract any woman that I desire and keep her. Okay, and I'm not here to fill you with a bunch of, oh, women are evil, the game is rigged bullshit. Instead of these low-value mindsets, we're just going to unlock the tools that men need to actually be fulfilled forever. And this comes with the surprising side benefits of just loads of daily vitality, unlimited confidence in every situation imaginable with a woman. And not only that, zero sexual performance anxiety ever when times get intimate. And laser focus to dial in your career.
And some more promises, all about how he will make your life so great and amazing and perfect. Very realistic, I have to say. I mean, I agree that healthy romantic relationship can improve people's lives, but not to that crazy degree. And also, if someone genuinely followed that advice, I doubt the relationships made this way could be considered healthy. There seems to be this association in these people's heads, maybe not necessarily here, but I've seen it in general, between improving your skills in getting women to sleep with you and general self-improvement. And it isn't really like this. I dare say that learning how to manipulate people only makes you a worse person.
Did you know, just by switching from asking questions to making statements, you can sleep with any woman 9 times out of 10? You see, can we just becomes, hey, I'm going to. Can I becomes, I will. Do you want to becomes, hey, we're going to. And would you like to becomes, I would like us to. When are you able to becomes, hey, I'm free at this time.
I have written this in my personal chat, but I'm going to repeat. This sounds creepy. I get that when you're in a relationship you can use this language sometimes if you know your partner feels comfortable with it. But why exclusively? But that's creepy, right? I'm not going crazy here.
See, the friend zone is total hell. Because guys spend weeks, even months, talking to women that they love, all while assuming he's building chemistry, and he finds out that by the time he works up the nerve just to tell her how he feels, she crushes him and says, well, we're just friends. I never viewed you as that way anyways. How many times have you been crazy about a girl, and just the thought of her naked body on top of you, with her curvy waist and breasts pressed up against you, could get you hard? Only to find out that she views you as a friend, not a lover. So much so that even the thought of you kissing her totally repulses her.
I guess I can agree a little bit here. Don't just become friends with girls because you want to have chance with them. From a perspective of a girl or a woman, this can also be really heartbreaking because you have this guy who you are close with and who you value as a friend, and suddenly it turns out that the whole time he was hanging out with you just because he wanted to fuck you. This shit hurts. Just don't do this.
All you have to do is copy-paste these exact cheat codes I've developed. So I want you to raise your right hand right now and say, I want this, I deserve this, I am ready for this. Now, fellas, here's what I bring to the table with the Masculinity Blueprint Accelerator. What you get is 12 weeks of guided coaching on every aspect of the system. And this is version 2 of MBT, where I walk you through the process A through Z to attract any woman at ease. Now, not only do you get unlimited access to this, but you also get any future updates to the program and portal free of charge. And I even took this a step further, and I included a live chat hardwired directly into the portal, so you have direct access to me at all times.
And over an hour in, we have the prices. Over $20,000, you say? Let that sink in. Who has so much to spend on those programs? My God.
Now with MBT, you get everything you need for a fraction of the price, and I don't do these fake pricing discounts. I'm not going to waste your time with some BS pricing tactic that you see all over the internet. I put this together for you today at a screaming deal for attending this workshop. You get everything today for just $497, and then one more installment. Or you can just take care of everything up front for just $797 and save an extra $197 instantly.
See, that's still expensive, and also remember that the discount has a time limit on. It tells you not to pressure us to make the decision if we're buying or not quickly, but we'll check that later.
Now, bonus number 2 is the raw sexual attraction shortcut to approach. You see, this is your unfair chemical advantage to have her craving to pleasure you. And this is so you, as a man, can unlock nature's strongest power of attraction for a completely unfair advantage that will have her begging to be with you.
Now, I'm not saying that this is realistic, but who would get encouraged by this? Like, why would you want to have an unfair advantage? This, as much as I don't believe it, sounds just evil, like coercion type of bad.
But now it's time for some Q&A. What we're going to do is we're going to tackle some frequently asked questions about the Masculinity Blueprint. And these are some of the commonly asked questions I get every single time I run this webinar. The first, hey Casey, what if money's a bit tight right now? Guess what? If you take a girl out right now with dinner, drinks and nightly activities, you're at $200 per event. Okay, in 4 dates with no results, that costs more than the price of this program. So I have to ask you, how much money are you wasting right now on lousy dates or relationships that have failed you in the past? If you look at Chris, he goes, I just wanted to take a minute and thank Casey for creating this. It has already saved me from a potential future headache, and I'm only in week 2. He should be charging more because he saved me thousands. And I see testimonials like this every single day. If you take a look at Jerome, I go, how much did MBT save you by not getting a divorce? He goes, who knows? My prior divorce cost over $100,000. Most importantly, you cannot put a price on the fallout in your emotional and physical health when heartbreak happens.
So this feels like exploitation. I'm sorry, if someone's tight with money, you shouldn't encourage them to buy unnecessary expensive stuff. And that's what this course is. If you are not only able to charge that much from someone who is not wealthy, and probably vulnerable, because I don't really think anyone would watch for so long if they weren't desperate for advice, but also try your best to do so, and that's what he's trying to do here. If it doesn't say any of that, I wouldn't care. That just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how to describe it. He just shows some dudes that he apparently helps. I don't want to dig into those people. Just one thing that grabbed my attention was this fella recording while driving, no seatbelt, nothing, That's just a safety hazard, dude. And I ran out of time for my cheaper purchase. Let's see. Nah, it's still just like it was. And in the end, I got that promised free stuff. The website works, I have to give in that. But I'm not going to go through all of it because there's a lot. Let's let some other pickup artists speak too.
Have you ever touched a girl too much, or the wrong way, or you waited too long, or you didn't touch her at all, and she lost interest in you? I get it, man. Society nowadays makes it seem like you'll go to jail if you touch a woman's shoulder.
One thing a lot of pickup artists talk about is touch. And honestly, I'd say that telling people how to not be creepy is generally speaking a good advice. I'd give them that. Listen, I'm not saying in this video that all saying advice is trash. One thing I hate though is adding the manipulation type of advice to the ones that can genuinely be good, like entering. This isn't from the video. Essentially, you're supposed to link the touch with some emotion by, for example, like touching the other person's arm whenever they laugh a few times, so that later they start subconsciously feel what they felt while laughing when you touch their arm, so you make them feel it. Like, I'm sorry, but if a woman goes out to have a drink on a Saturday night, she probably doesn't want her resistance to mind control tested. What I also find funny is that a lot of those people call themselves alpha males. And, well, I don't want to go into how it's unscientific, because I'm pretty sure everyone knows it by now. It's just, calling yourself an alpha male is like calling yourself funny. It's not up to you to judge that. And by just saying that you are that, you look even less like that. Now, one pickup method I've seen some people talking about is fractionation. When I search on YouTube how that's supposed to work, the video I picked from a guy named Fredo Hill told me to go on the website, and on the website there was another long video to watch. This time at least no one was pretending that it's live, and I could pause it whenever I wanted, so that's really nice. I really appreciate that. Let's start with their explanation of this method.
Fractionation is one of the 12 original female psychology mind hacks, which have been jealously guarded by the underground MK Delta community for many, many years. Indeed, for a long time, the masters who invented fractionation didn't want to expose it to outsiders because of one very important reason. Since fractionation is so devastatingly effective in generating intense attraction, using it merely to get phone numbers or kisses would be overkill. In fact, in the words of one of its creators, using fractionation in attraction is like taking a nuclear bomb to a gunfight. When you hear stories of men getting phone numbers or kisses in less than 10 minutes upon the approach, you can safely assume that there was some fractionation action going on. Next, you're going to learn about this technique and discover how you can use it to create a strong emotional bond with any woman you want. So here's how fractionation works. The technique is based on this mind control concept called dual polarity. I describe dual polarity in detail inside the Shogun method, but here's what it is in plain language. Dual polarity means two opposing states, thoughts, or emotions. For example, pleasure and pain, desire and disgust, pride and embarrassment, generosity and greed, joy and grief, and so on. Neurologists have found that when the human brain is exposed to quick successions of dual polarity, for example, pleasure and pain, the intensity of human emotions is amplified by at least 1,000%. And this means that when you stir up both positive and negative feelings in a woman, you create a strong emotional bond with her. In other words, you will push her big red attraction button if you make her feel both pleasure and pain simultaneously. If this sounds complicated, don't worry. Next, I'll give you a couple of examples, and you will see just how easy it is. For example, you can say this. Do you remember the time when your best friend is just next to you, and it makes you feel tremendously happy? You feel important, appreciated, and loved. Now can you imagine now how that feels? I used to feel like that. But then one day, my best friend got sick, and she died almost immediately. She was gone.
So apparently you're just supposed to make her feel contrasting emotions. The examples he gave all sounded really awkward, and yeah, if someone says something similar to you, I would treat that as a red flag. Also, the way he presented it, like some outstanding and powerful method, yeah, no. Even if it has some effectiveness, that's a gigantic exaggeration. I'm sorry for being skeptical here, but yeah, I don't think it's that easy, mate. But why not show you some more from the video? It lasted like an hour, and I watched it all, so let's see what fun stuff there is in it. He started video similar to Casey, which is with his own story. I'm not showing you any of that, you can go search it up, and I can summarize. In Casey's case, he was a mama's good boy and a nice guy, some would say. But then he got disappointed with his mother, started partying or something, was really depressed and found his life's happiness into pickup arts or something, I don't know. I don't really care about this one that much. Now our boy here, I think his name was Derek, right? I think it's important to say that this is not the same guy apparently who is having that YouTube channel. I'm not sure how that works in between the two of them. He had a crush on one of his co-workers, went on one date with her, crept her on it, and then was acting obsessive about her for some period of time while she didn't want anything to do with him, and then caught her making out with their old boss, and that was super heartbreaking, apparently. I don't want to be cruel, but I'm sorry, you're creepy. How am I supposed to sympathize with you on this one?
I wanted to be able to control any woman's mind, thoughts, and feelings. I had craved for the ability to make any woman I desire to completely surrender to me, physically and emotionally. And most of all, I never wanted to feel powerless with women again. As you can see now, small-time pickup artist tricks could never give me what I'd hungered for. So while most guys would usually try to figure it out by reading pickup artist ebooks, I went to this underground source of information called the Darknet. And if you've never heard about the Darknet before, this is where controversial whistleblower sites like WikiLeaks and online black markets like the Silk Road originally came from. As you can imagine, all kinds of dubious characters could be found lurking within the Darknet, and yet it was also the place where forbidden knowledge about mind control was cautiously guarded inside private communities, hidden from the outside world. I was fortunate to gain access to one such community in the Darknet called the MK Delta, named after the notorious covert mind control program masterminded by the United States government back in the 70s. The members of the MK Delta community shared little-known techniques on how to control the behavior of the mass population, but I was only interested in using mind control specifically to do one thing: to attract any woman I want and put her under my influence.
So, first of all, that ending was creepy. I love the Darknet part of the story, though. I mean, I guess it makes sense for him to use that as his source because it's this secret knowledge, mind control. I mean, this one is all about the mind control stuff. But that seems smart from a marketing point of view. No, I'm not an expert on marketing, so don't quote me on that. But it seems smart to me, okay? It's like attention grabbing, and I don't know, there seems to be something that sounds really, really cool when it's talking about Darknet. I remember when I was 16, I liked watching videos, like playing a game I found on Darknet, or I don't know, watching a video I found on the Darknet, and it was so cool and so dark and so edgy. Like I liked this stuff, so I think if it was able to grab my attention as 16-year-old to just watch it for entertainment, I guess it could work on other people too. I don't want to say all those people are 16-year-olds. 16-year-olds probably don't have that money.
Now I'm sure you understand why generic dating advice like build your confidence or make her laugh or pickup artist stuff like be cocky but funny or use funny pickup lines are nothing but a sham. And if you're one of the millions that have fallen victim to pickup artist scams, then you need to decide now to accept the truth, because if you don't, you'll probably never end up with anyone at all. Guys, it's pretty straightforward. Here's the explanation. Our attraction buttons get pushed when we see particular physical qualities in a woman, like body and facial symmetry, breast size and shape, and waist-to-hip ratio, for example. For women, however, it's completely different, because she's driven more by her emotions than by physical attributes.
Hear him, guys? You are all shallow and only care about looks. Women, on the other hand, we don't care about looks. It's those weird simplifications that make this whole thing so weird.
Next, you'll discover the secrets of the IRAE Model, the world's first blueprint on decoding the female mind. It gives you the roadmap to making a woman fall in love in 4 simple steps. 1. Generating intrigue. 2. Building rapport. 3. Creating attraction. And finally, 4. Enslaving her. In the first 3 stages of the IRAE model, intrigue, rapport, and attraction, are about making a woman fall in love. The 4th stage, enslavement, is about making her stay in love. If you want to dominate and control a woman for life, then these unique enslavement techniques are exactly what you will need. As these tactics can cause irreparable harm to a woman's psyche, we must ask you only to use if necessary. We shall not be held responsible if anything goes wrong. For example, if she turns to be overly obsessive and starts to stalk you. The enslavement techniques I teach here come from the real world and are used by every single dictator and cult leader to dominate their followers. If you don't think you can handle the straight talk about the darker side of human psychology, then look elsewhere. The heart of the Shogun Method's enslavement module is the Black Rose sequence, which is the single most powerful hypnotic pattern ever developed. This is the only place in the world where the real Black Rose sequence can be found. If you've seen an alleged copy of it elsewhere, you've seen a fake. Inside the enslavement module, you will learn how to segregate a woman from the outside world so that she overly depends on you to survive. Know how to isolate a woman emotionally using the combo tactics of shared experiences and shared secrets. Discover why you should introduce disasters into a relationship with a woman to make it stronger. Find out about inoculation and learn how to protect your woman from being mind-hacked by other guys who know mind control or the Shogun method. Learn the prophecy tactic and use it to install virtual walls around your target, making it impossible for her to leave you for another man. Discover how you can use hearsay to plant ideas in her mind covertly. You will be the puppet master, pulling her strings, and she won't even know it. Finally, add the infamous 4-step Black Rose sequence into your seduction arsenal. With this one pattern, you will be able to dominate any woman completely and make her yours forever.
I'm too lazy to find a clip, but even this same dude or the other one from a YouTube channel that is promoting him said that his mind control techniques are not unethical. This sounds evil. This sounds so toxic. Does this marketing really work? Because if it does, I'm losing my faith in the humanity here.
This is a safe and secure environment where we share the most controversial mind control tools that we want to keep hidden from outsiders. I don't usually want to talk about these strategies in public because, as you know, I don't like to court controversy. And yet everything is freely disclosed in the Derek Rake Insider Labs to our members. Here are some hints on what's inside this protected area. Emotion slaves, cult control, mental warfare, surrender and submission.
Like, going into making this video, I expected these losers to sound morally wrong. Like, come on, what is this?
That's right. Listen, stop delaying any longer, and I'll tell you why. Because the MK Delta group is a protected community. I want to limit the membership to a small number of people so that our knowledge base doesn't leak out to outsiders easily. So here's the deal. If any one of our MK Delta techniques gets leaked to the outside world, I will immediately close the group to new members. I have to do this to be fair to our existing members and to protect the integrity of the group. Since this presentation is still live, it's safe to say that this bonus is still available, but it may go away anytime without prior warning.
And again, some good old time pressure. One thing I can't commend this guy for is that, in this case, I can't fact-check him that hilariously easily.
Shogun method work on women in my country? Definitely. The reason why Shogun method works on women of all races, cultures, and nationalities is simple. Because the female attraction buttons are deeply embedded in each and every woman's mind. They are hardwired to respond to mind control techniques regardless of what language they speak, or other race or cultural boundaries.
There we have it, besties. All women are the same, said as explicitly as it can be. That's one thing we can notice. Generally, pickup artists do. They present women as some weird robot-like creatures who can be easily programmable if you only pay them for their seminars. And they have to do this because acknowledging that everyone is different and complex makes it extremely hard to buy into their weird advice. One thing I've also seen people talking about is NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and as far as I understand it, as the name suggests, it's supposed to program someone's mind during conversation with them, so that by using different techniques they end up getting to conclusion that we wanted them to.
For example, let's say if they, put their hand right here like this, like they're kind of resting their hand like this. Maybe in a minute or so, you'll kind of do something similar. Maybe not exactly like that, but you'll put your hand over here too. Maybe you'll be touching your face like this because they're touching theirs. And again, it's the mirror. So their side, which is going to be their left side, and your right side, for example, if you're doing that. Maybe they're crossing their legs in a certain way. You can mirror that. Maybe they are smiling in a certain way. You can mirror that.
Mirroring. Essentially, you're supposed to mimic the other person's behavior because that's what we're doing subconsciously with people we already feel strongly connected to. I've heard someone, not the guy from this video I've shown, I think, saying that in this way the other person will also subconsciously mimic us, and therefore we can make them do whatever we want. Now, I wasn't planning to have this part in this video, but one thing I've heard a few pickup artists say is that what they are doing to women isn't bad because, well, women manipulate too. So if they do it too, it's not bad. And, you know, that's kind of a dumb reasoning, you know. If someone stabbed me, does that mean that I can just go around and stab people? I don't think so. But to be able to watch that dumb video by Derek, I had to sign up for his newsletter. And I just got an email in which he actually talked about it and gave us some ways of how women can be manipulative too, in his opinion. And I just want to read it to you, okay? So the ways are: withholding sex. This is actually the single reason why I decided to put this part in the video, because come on! Like, if a woman doesn't want to have sex with you, it's not withholding sex, it's not manipulation, she just doesn't want to. She doesn't know your shit, dude. She doesn't. You should only be having sex with people who want it. I don't get, why would you dressing like a tot to see other men? I mean, women can dress however they want, like, maybe they're dressing for themselves, and even if they are dressing just to annoy you, I mean, you shouldn't be annoyed by that in the first place, so I'm flirting with other men. That's just cheating. Let's dump her. At this point, I don't think we could consider this manipulation. Like, just leave this relationship. Or alternatively, talk to your partner. Like, tell them what you think about this and, like, set some boundaries for your relationship. Because you should both be happy in it and either work together to fix it or just leave. Delaying response to text messages or calls. This one is really childish if someone does that on purpose, like, you know, sometimes it just takes longer to respond, and if someone does it on purpose, it's just like a middle school kind of behavior. Like, is it really that common for women, or any more common than it is for men? Complimenting other men to incite jealousy. Like, I guess that can kind of count, unless you mean like just complimenting other men in general. Which, you know, as long as it's not romantic, it's just being nice. Acting dumb and helpless to get guys to do things for her. Yeah, this one I can give him, though I would still argue it's still not as bad as his ways of manipulation, because women don't do this for, like, sex. They do this for, like, I don't know, having someone open doors for them or something, you know, that's not as serious. Playing the victim by crying in public. Yeah, I guess it could count, but you could also just make someone feel upset or sad or scared in public as well. So, you know, it could be manipulation, it could not be manipulation. I don't think that the public part changes much, you know. If someone's using fake tears to make you feel a certain way, well, then yeah, but still. Getting a guy's family members and friends on their side. This one is, well, if she's lying, that is manipulation, but if she's just telling them how things really look like from a perspective without lying, that just means, you know, they can just pick sides themselves. So if you're acting like a dick and she says, yeah, he said this and this to me and I feel bad, and they get on her side, you know, it's not their fault, it's not manipulation. making guys jump through hoops just because she can. Yeah, this one, but it's not really a method. It's just, you know, an effect of manipulation. And then he asks, sure, I can find more if I sit down and really think about it, but this will do for now. Don't get me wrong though, just because women are manipulative, they may not be necessarily malicious. Which is true, some people are manipulative without even knowing that they are. The same goes to guys. You can choose to use manipulative tactics on women without any bad intentions. And this is like, I would argue being manipulative, like subconsciously, wouldn't be that bad, but here we're saying you can choose to use manipulative tactics. So at the point when you're choosing to be manipulative, you know, it automatically gets much worse. Whether you're malicious towards women or not, it's none of my business. So this person is just like, well, if you want to use my advice to do something, but that's not on me, that's on you. Which, you know, you taught those people to be this way, so mate, I'm sorry, this is on you. But if one of the best tactics to manipulate, control, and dominate women ever known to humankind, I know for sure that this is the only place on this God-forsaken earth to get it. And here is this website. Understand this: to enslave a woman and put her under your control, manipulation is a necessary evil. Well, it is not necessary to enslave a woman and put her under your control. That's actually a bad thing, I would argue, like enslaving people, you know, even if it's just mentally, making them addicted to, like, making them dependent on you is not good. So it's not like a necessary evil in general. It's a necessary evil in doing something else that is also evil. To conclude though, because this thing got longer than I anticipated, I hate this industry. Despite that, I don't hate, and you can see it in my video, I never was like, boo, insults. I don't hate people who get caught in this. I feel bad for them. The feeling of being unloved or unlovable is horrible, and while the incel community is generally sexist, lots of people struggle with meeting new people and building and maintaining relationships because of general poor social skills. I myself am very awkward, especially offline, and struggle with talking to strangers, and I want to work on that. I haven't given you much advice here, not because I don't want to. If I could offer you something better than those people, like some alternative, I probably would. One thing I've heard someone say that sounds like it could work is to get the person you're talking to ramble. Just find the topic they're passionate about and can say a lot about, and ask questions. Make them feel heard. This way they will like talking to you. This only makes me more angry though, because those pickup artists just prey on lonely and vulnerable people to get their hard-earned money, and in return teach them a bunch of bullshit that is not going to help them and can essentially make them worse people. Striving to be an alpha male, not being able to take no for an answer, viewing women in this weird animalistic way, trying to trick them into being a certain way, it's not something we should teach people, and not something that will work for them. This thing might surprise some men, but women are people. Don't treat them like aliens, because this way everyone gets hurt. And I think that's all I wanted to put in this video. I could ramble about the topic for much longer. Maybe in the future I could look more into Casey's free program or a newsletter I had to sign up for to get an access to the growth video. Not now though. If you want to share your opinions on what I've said or what I've shown or the drawing in the background, like maybe some advice, anything, how's your day? You can do it in the comment section down below. I love seeing the responses to my video. I can't wait to be done editing this one, because from amount of material I have here to pick the parts off, and all that I've rambled, because I'm probably going to cut out like half of what I've said in the end. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of work. I'm not going to complain anymore though. For now, just stay safe, stay hydrated. Peace.